Resident Evil Requiem features two distinct playstyles by way of its two protagonists, Grace Ashcroft and Leon S. Kennedy, each one having their own tips and tricks, many of which the game doesn't explicitly tell you. So let's get into them. While Grace's gameplay is very reminiscent of Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 7, Requiem has added a surprising amount of depth and flexibility in surviving the undead, starting with a hidden cover and lean system. As Grace, sneaking around, being methodical, and very aware of your surroundings is the name of the game when it comes to surviving. And one nifty thing you can do is peek around corners. Stand close to the corner of a wall, aim, and Grace will intuitively lean around it. This is very nifty when hearing, say, the hulking brute of a chef, but not wanting to run right into him. Instead, you can lean and check. It also works great for lining up a shot before retreating for safety. Additionally, this works for Leon too, and becomes especially useful for a section later in the game that will call for some well-needed cover. When you get there, you'll know. Remember, you can close doors too. When sneaking around and a zombie is a moment away from coming around the corner and spotting you, you can dip into a room and shut the door behind you. While the game teaches this to you early on, it can be easy to forget as there is no UI prompt to remind you to shut it. It's also a nice tactic for just slightly slowing down a zombie too. Flashlights don't affect zombie behavior, so don't stress about turning it off around them. Which is ironic considering there's that zombie who absolutely just hates lights, but hey, if it means being able to see through the darkness without worrying about it attracting danger, then I'll take it. It is better to not kill a zombie sometimes. It's important to remember, sometimes it's better to just walk away from a fight, and that is okay, especially in Resident Evil Requiem. First, resources are precious, and if you're not confident you can land consecutive headshots, then take advantage of staggering or even amputating zombies rather than full-on killing them. This is especially true when it comes to blister heads. Blister heads are fiercer, more intense zombies that only come from zombies that have already been downed. Meaning, killing a zombie, while convenient in that moment, can lead to a far worse situation down the line. Even worse, you don't know what ones will come back as blister heads. Not only are blister heads scary, they're way harder to take down. So, be deliberate and aware of the risk you're taking when choosing to kill a zombie, and consider the resources or ingenuity of potential encounters to come. Take the time to learn each zombie's behavior. During most of Grace's opening hours in Rhodes Hill, zombies display patterns and habits that reflect when they were alive. Use this to your advantage. Cleaners, for example, will move around wiping up guts and gore from the floor, or in some cases from a zombie you've killed earlier. Kill a zombie and you might find a cleaner attending that mess, thus taking her out of one location you found tricky to explore while she was there. The same can be true for making a pathway harder, like killing the light switch zombie in the middle of the hall could cause the cleaner nearby to be there later instead, creating another obstacle. Or there's the case of zombies who just hate noise, often seen wheeling around an IV pole. These zombies can be lured by loud noises, but they also hurt nearby zombies when flailing their pole wildly. Ah, the old Resident Evil bait trick. You will find many rooms in Resident Evil have a centerpiece of furniture, whether that's a desk or a roulette table. These are incredibly useful. If zombies are blocking where you need to go and you'd rather not waste the resources killing them, kite them away into a room where there's an obstacle at the center. By luring them around, it gives you a clean breakaway to run where you need to get to without any trouble. Hopefully. Bottles can be more than just a means of distraction or a crafting item, but an incredibly useful tool for staggering zombies. Whether you're trying to conserve ammo or just create an opening to get through, throwing a bottle at a zombie instantly staggers them, leading to a melee attack prompt. When positioned just right, you can push a zombie into another, giving you a brief window to squeeze on by without having to deal any damage or waste any bullets. But like all resources, just remember bottles can be in limited supply as well. So make it count. Alright, enough of beating around the bush with the skin chewers. Let's talk about getting lethal.
Jesus.
This is the classic killing method. Go for the legs. A shot or two to the legs will bring a zombie down, allowing you to shove them over, giving you a clear window to pop a few bullets in the head or stab them while they're down if you have a knife. Speaking of knives, don't forget that knives aren't just defensive. This might be obvious, but it can be easy to forget or even miss that by simply pressing the right trigger when not aiming, you can perform a melee attack if you have a knife. The trick is whether you want to hold onto a knife to get out of a bind when you're being grabbed, giving you a prompt to stab a zombie in the eye, or use it to stab wildly while a zombie is on the ground, or when you're just low on ammo. It's also very nifty to hold onto knives for hunting down Mr. Raccoons, as using a single bullet on them is, well, one less bullet you have in a potentially dire situation, as there are many of those. Knives can be crafted when finding 2 scraps, and before it's used can be dismantled back into scrap if needed for something else later. Zombies who wield weapons can injure their pals if they're in the way while trying to attack you. The IV pole zombie, for example, swings that thing like a madman and can hit other zombies around him in the process, maybe even one-shot kill them. Kite him into a crowd, and with some ingenuity, you can let him do some work for you. The same is true for the stalkers in the game, like the girl and Chunk, who will tear through whatever it takes to get to you. Hemolytic injectors. Despite the game tutorializing the use of these on a lowly regular old zombie, I highly encourage you to not use it then and save them for more dire situations and tougher enemies. These are best used for tougher, bigger bads like the chef, Chunk, Singers, all of whom drop something very useful for Grace, and those darn blister heads. Unlike Leon, Grace does not have a stealth takedown. Instead, she can sneak up and take down an enemy using a hemolytic injector. While they're a one-shot kill for most, enemies like the chef needs a couple, and Chunk needs 3. Yes, you can kill Chunk. The physical moving wall that is the big and menacing Chunk can be killed, and you should do it. If you can manage to find, craft, and save 3 hemolytic injectors, you can shove them right in Chunk's butt crack. Thankfully, Chunk is also fairly easy to cheese. The reward? 1 incredible death animation, 1 hell of a bloodbath, and 1 very handy charm that gives Grace a higher chance of escaping near death, at the cost of losing an inventory slot to carry it around. In consecutive New Game Plus runs, Chunk will instead drop antique coins as charms carry over between playthroughs. Do not waste Requiem bullets. Like the injectors, save these for the big bads, but even more importantly, save them for the girl. You'll be encountering the girl a few times, and while you can't kill her, the Requiem stops her dead in her tracks and sends her on her way. There are, of course, some other situations where a Requiem bullet is all you have, and if that's the case, always make sure to line up as many zombies as possible before firing off and taking them all out at once. While Requiem bullets are seldom found, rare scraps can be used to craft more, and it's their only use. Rare scraps are found in all locked drawers, which require a lockpick to open. Considering rare scraps only craft one thing, craft it when you get it and store it away for later. On that note, it's just worth storing the Requiem away for most of Grace's section, giving you an extra inventory slot and getting it out when you absolutely need it. And while we're chatting about items, check your map before leaving a room. As is the standard for all Resident Evil games, the map is a vital tool you should rely on constantly. Previous Resident Evil games would mark the room red, indicating there are still some items to be found, and blue when the room is complete. While Resident Evil 9 does not do this, it marks items you've seen on your map, making it very easy to notice that you've missed something, or make note to resources to pick up eventually if your inventory space is at the time full. It also marks blood and gut piles needed for extraction, which is very nifty. Checking the map has just become an obsessive habit of mine as a longtime fan of the game, so get ready to do it a lot. The lockers in the parlor room are host to 4 upgrades to give Grace a much needed boost to survive the odds placed against her. The antique coins to unlock them can be found scattered around the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, as well on the corpses of the singing zombie ladies. The upgrades available are as follows: 2 additional inventory slots, health steroids which permanently increases Grace's HP, stabilizer which permanently increases Grace's aiming stabilization, and an increased intake for Grace's blood collector. To start, I'd recommend unlocking the first locker containing the extra inventory slots and the last locker containing the increased blood intake. Inventory management is limited, and being able to carry more is always great. And the same goes for the blood collector, as it is a vital tool and the backbone of crafting, and you'll be using it very often. Being able to hold more blood means you'll do less running around between crafting to find blood piles to collect, and pair that with having an extra inventory slot just means you can have more room for the stuff you're crafting. crafting. But, of course, this also varies heavily on playstyle. If you're struggling to land shots, get the stabilizer. If you're dying a lot, get the health booster. Another reason why I wouldn't stress stabilizers and steroids at the beginning is that you will have opportunities for them in the future. And on that note, eventually you'll find a lab sample that will teach you how to craft both stabilizers and steroids, which consist of finding empty medical injectors and a hefty amount of blood. So, if you choose not to unlock either one from the coin lockers at first, you will still have the chance to upgrade through the game with careful planning and blood management. Both health and stabilization can be upgraded individually 4 times, and progress for each is shown in your inventory above Grace's health status. This is a quick tip if you choose to play on standard classic difficulty, where ink ribbons are a required resource to save. While ink ribbons are rare, empty ink ribbon canisters, which are used for crafting ink ribbons when combined with blood, are plentiful. So, in that regard, Resident Evil 9 is actually more generous with saving than it leads the player to believe. That being said, the game also still has an autosave at pivotal moments in the story, so before using an ink ribbon, be sure to check when the last autosave was, as it may inform whether you really need to use one.
I'm just gonna keep looking around.
Keep a separate save at the endpoint of each major area. This is really best for completionists, as finding files and Mr. Raccoon statues are permanent and cross over from playthrough to playthrough. Mr. Raccoons are especially important, as finding them all unlock an important perk that will make future playthroughs, especially its harder difficult insanity mode, much more doable. When it comes to finding raccoons, listen carefully. They make a clockwork-like tinkering sound effect. Grace's section, while playing into the roots of Resident Evil, offers a lot of player expression in tackling a situation, but Grace is also only half of this experience. Now, let's talk about Leon. For those who've played Resident Evil 4 Remake, taking control of Leon will be very familiar. However, there's still a few tips worth keeping in mind, and even a few reminders. Like, sharpen your hatchet as often as you reload. While the hatchet is certainly an OP upgrade over Leon's breakable knife in 4, the hatchet can be vulnerable to dulling quickly depending on what it's deflecting, and as a result has left me high and dry when I need it most. So, like the habitual reload after a fight is over, don't forget to sharpen your hatchet too. Don't forget to parry. Now, this may seem obvious, but when things are tense and you're surrounded on all sides, it's easy to get flustered and forget, one of the most valuable tools you have: parrying. It's also important to be considerate of what to parry and when. Enemies who wield weapons like axes, shovels, or concrete javelins take a hefty chunk out of the hatchet's durability meter. However, those attacks often deal a lot of damage and stop Leon in his tracks, so instead of spamming a parry on every attack coming your way, try and be strategic in who is attacking and with what. Parrying a chainsaw, however, instantly dulls your hatchet. And speaking of parrying things beyond logic and understanding, the hatchet seems to be able to parry everything but bullets and mortars. And seriously, I ravaged a boss fight with parries alone, so yeah, it can be a bit ridiculous. Just a reminder, like Grace, Leon has a hidden peek and cover system. That's really just a callback and a reminder that this is a thing the game doesn't really tell you. But yeah, it will come in handy, I promise. Look for hanging containers. Scattered around Leon's act, there are attaché cases hanging in various places, often high up and in unreachable spots. Shoot these down to collect extra resources. Some of these cases are pretty obvious, while others are hidden pretty well, so just be on the lookout for them. If you happen to add a peripheral to a weapon that increases its precision, it can sometimes change the aiming perspective, all, Metal Gear Solid-like. If that's not your thing, you can change it in the settings so it remains in third person. For some players, it can be tempting to pick up notes and move on, but there are several notes in Leon's section that detail specific weapons and charms and their location. Thankfully, it is made all the more obvious when text is highlighted yellow to stand out more to the player. Alright, so that is all the tips and tricks for Resident Evil Requiem. For all the Resident Evil 9 Requiem jazz and coverage, stay here with GameSpot. Okay, see ya.